welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Hymanson.
Oh, and we're hitting on the horror train early this year as we talk about a brand new franchise. We are done with... What were we doing before this?
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. It's been a long week, you guys. And we are talking about Child's Play. The first one.
The first one. not the 2019
one. 2019, yeah.
A lot of people, don't forget these movies are not until later called Chucky.
That's
They're
right.
called Child's Play.
I was like thinking to myself, don't call it Chucky. Don't call it Chucky. Don't call it the Chucky franchise. I mean, I guess you could call
Children's Play.
Children's playtime. Children's
jaunting. The naming convention for this one is all over the place.
But, yeah. But hey, it kicks off with Child's Play in 1988. And you know what? Let's hear the trailer.
Everyone has a birthday they'll always remember.
Can we open my presents now, Mommy? A good guy! I knew it! I'm Chucky.
He's something, isn't he?
This is Andy's.
Time for bed, Andy. Good night, baby.
Good night, Aunt Maggie. Good night, Chucky.
Everyone knows most accidents happen at home.
How did that happen?
This is no accident.
Andy?
Undetected.
This was no accident.
But it does happen at home.
Yeah. You know, there's actually a really funny, like the tagline of this trailer. I didn't put it because I didn't want to play the whole 2-minute thing or whatever. But at the end, the tagline is like, there's nothing nice about murder. And there's nothing innocent about Child's Play. As the titles come up. I love this trailer though, because it's got the awesome score in there from the movie.
Yeah.
From it was Joe Renzetti, which I was really digging the score in this.
So fun fact about this movie is that it was originally titled Batteries Not Included.
Yes.
But then the producers found out that Steven Spielberg was working on a movie called Batteries Not Included.
Yeah. Gonna have to change that.
So we're gonna include the batteries now and make it a plot point.
Right?
That's right. The batteries were included, but they're not inside. Let's before we get started here, has anyone have you guys seen this movie before? Is this your first Chucky experience? What's the deal?
I have a passing awareness of Chucky. I think that I've seen bits and pieces of God knows which ones throughout the years on television.
Were you surprised it was a doll?
Nope, that one tracked.
Did you think it was going to be Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I thought these were people being mauled with a giant rat.
I was aware of Chucky, but wasn't sure of the spelling, and I thought it was Chuck E. Cheese.
Esquire. But as for this version, I don't think that I've ever seen the original Child's Play.
I think it was on in the background at a Halloween party, and I watched at least all the way through the Aunt Maggie stuff because I remember that, but then I don't remember the rest.
Oh yeah, I too was aware of Chucky and had seen clips.
You were living your life Chucky adjacent.
Yes, I was always like, hey, what's that doll doing?
Oh, he introduced us to the Terror Tram one year at Universal.
That's right. Yeah.
And
that was the Cult of Chucky year, I think.
What if I was just like, yeah, he was in Ready Player One, right?
He was.
He was. Yeah.
That guy. But yeah, this was my first time seeing the original, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I had, obviously there's something good here that moves on to create a whole franchise. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I found most interesting was that my awareness of Chucky was mostly as a total joke.
Right.
Thing. I expected this movie to be way more full of ridiculous humor. And,
you expected him to
jokes.
have Freddy type taunts.
Exactly,
and stuff like that.
And he does sometimes, but it doesn't go full.
No, I think this movie is much more
in this.
grounded in like a single mom being scared of like what her kid's doing.
Yeah, it's
like,
way more played straight than I thought it was going to be. which I actually really enjoyed.
And the mom's just batshit in this movie.
Yeah. Well, for good reason, is
Yeah.
So this movie, you might be wondering, if you haven't seen any of the Chucky movies, how does a doll come to life and go on a murder spree?
And the answer is a religion that we don't quite understand.
Some sort of voodoo magic.
Voodoo, yeah, like black magic thing. Dr. Death, I believe.
There's
right.
there's a lot of elements swirling around in this because we get to see Charles Lee Ray at the beginning of this movie, and he's robbing a bank, but he's described as a serial killer. So he's a serial killer who also associates with a crew that also robs banks.
Was he robbing a bank?
He was robbing something.
I thought he was just like running away from the cops. I don't really know what was going on.
But like anyway, he has a crew. Like he's usually serial killers traditionally loners.
That's true.
And
He was the Strangler, the Lakeshore Strangler, or
Right.
something like that.
because the movie takes place in Chicago in the winter.
Yeah.
And then he also allegedly associates with a voodoo priest and then practices voodoo.
Yeah.
But he
You
looks
know, like most
But he
serial
looks
killers.
like the dude who that you would bowl 2 lanes over from if he was at a bowling alley, and he would definitely be at a bowling alley.
He looks like Brad Dourif. Because that's who it is.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't realize that like the good guy's doll was like a doll that could be any name or anybody. Like I thought it was like Chucky, but it's like
Branded,
these are dolls that could have any name, and then this one becomes Chucky because it's Charles Lee that takes over.
Yeah, and there's actually a commercial too where they call him Oscar.
Yeah.
And I thought that was his name too, but no, apparently not.
Did you guys have any dolls when you were little?
Not
The
like
boys.
not like that.
I had a from the Hanson family that lived down the street from us. They had a garage sale.
I thought you were
And
going to
they
say
had-
you had a doll of one of
No,
the
no.
Hanson brothers.
And then-
Like,
and they-
that way.
and he had sold, and they had a Stay Puffed doll that I got that I carried around with me constantly.
The Hanson Brothers dolls come with phrases like "We're not girls" and stuff like that.
We play our own instruments. Cabbage Patch dolls are really big
I was
when I
gonna
was
say
little.
I did have one of those. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
With like a Cubs outfit on.
Oh, what was his name?
I don't remember.
They all have unique names.
My
you
mom
know.
would know.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
call her.
Let's
up.
call her up.
Well, yeah, I had
Beep, boop, beep,
three.
boop, beep, boop, beep.
I had the baby one that had no hair, and then I had like a little bit older one, and then I had like a full-on toddler one, and their names were Henrietta Isabel, Elvira Mindy, and Delta Nadine.
Delta Nadine.
And thinking about it now, I'm like, is that why people in our generation are giving their kids like the most insane names to try and make them unique? Like, is Cabbage Patch Dolls part of the problem?
I think so.
Yeah.
What is Delta Nadine?
That was her
Senator
name.
Delta Nadine to you.
Oh, that's so weird. I was like, was she a soldier or something?
Oh, like Delta is a name, like Delta Burke.
I guess.
You got one. Delta Airlines.
That's not a name. That's a company name. Named after Sir Delta of Airborne.
He was a school teacher who invented a cold remedy.
Yeah. He invented commercial flight.
I mean, it must be somebody's name. I mean, unless Delta Burke was the first one, and then they named the doll after her. That can't
I'm
be
sure
right.
it's someone's name.
So- it's probably some Southern thing.
I just don't know one single person named Delta. I'm looking at Cabbage Patch Kids on eBay right now.
Delta's out there. Tweet at us.
I also had the American Girl doll, Samantha, and it was like the beautiful moment with like the one present that you really wanted, except it was Christmas. It wasn't my birthday, but it was like, yeah.
What
it
was
a big
Samantha's story?
deal. She was from like
She was also a
not
serial killer.
colonial. That's not right. Like turn of the century America.
So like
obviously.
pre-flapper, like if she was born
No,
10 years
no,
later.
yeah. Like for some reason I keep saying colonial, but that's not the right word.
It's like, so-
Victorian,
Okay, yeah.
right? Is that right? In America though?
No, not America. You're talking about like 1890s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Post-Civil War. Reconstruction.
Yes, definitely post Civil War. But yeah, she was the one that like befriended the children of the servants. And so it was like, you know, she was, yeah.
American Girl dolls are so weird.
Yeah, like, you
Yeah.
know. And she was like really into like not inventing, but being like a leader. So I think she
Motorcycles?
was the one that like first started the partnership with the Girl Scouts because she was palling
Okay.
around with the Baden pals and yeah, whatever.
So it's something that's really interesting about this movie to me, and I think that it's kind of something that's terrifying of like how beautiful and kind of dark a kid's imagination is, and how this mom is like, oh, it's so cute, he's talking to the doll, he thinks the doll's real, and then how sinister that can become, and how you kind of don't know what's going on in a kid's mind and what they think is real, and that how there's something really scary about that.
Yeah.
And this movie really capitalizes in a way that makes it this existential fear that I think works really, really well.
And that's why people who saw this movie at a young age are still fucked up by it to this day. I was talking to someone just last week that was like, fuck those movies. I can't even think about that.
yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes on, but the fact that it's like a real dude that took over the doll and that he like talks so plainly and is just kind of like so realistic, in my mind, he's like much less scary than like Annabelle, per se, because
Right.
she's got like supernatural powers, where his only supernatural power is that it's a guy in the doll. Everything else is physical. Like he doesn't really have any like. He can't control things with his mind, or he
Well,
doesn't have super
there's
strength.
also multiple times where people just pick him up and throw him away.
Yeah. So he's bound
So
by
great.
the laws of physics and like human strength, but
He also has to rely on people falling over,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
low to the ground,
yeah.
for the most part. Or just surprise attacking someone and
Yeah.
pushing them out the window.
Yeah.
Another way to go.
Yes.
So, Charles Lee, what is it?
Ray.
Cheese.
Charles
Cheese.
Lee Cheese. Charles Lee Ray. He for whatever reason gets chased into a toy store.
Yeah.
And he gets shot a bunch, and he's all like, "I'm gonna kill you, cop guy."
Mm-hmm.
But before he dies, he starts going like, "I gotta find somebody. I gotta find somebody." And you're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he knocks over this like pile of the good guy dolls and stares straight into one of the good guy dolls' eyes and starts chanting this crazy chant.
Boogaram, Zoogaram.
Hey, don't do it. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
Jesus.
I was doing the Temple of Doom chant.
All right.
It brings in all sorts of cool special effects from the Ghostbusters movie.
Which come back later.
I was like, this looks exactly like what Ghostbusters looks like, where the sky is all like dark and cloudy, and then it's like lightning bolts. And a lightning bolt strikes the store and it totally blows up, which I thought was pretty cool. I was like,
So yeah,
explosions.
basically he knows how to transfer his soul into another body, but there's no bodies around, so he has to settle for the doll.
Yeah. Which I guess works. I know. I don't know the details of this.
And then what happens is that the whole toy store burns down, and then we cut to this homeless guy selling the doll in a parking lot.
He was a peddler, is what they called him, I think.
Yeah, he was a peddler who turned into a rapist.
And a
So like, I don't
rapist,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do like homeless people and people that sell stuff that fall off the back of the truck? They just want to make money. They probably
Yeah.
don't want to rape you. But maybe
them
I don't
might.
know.
I don't
I
know.
guess. But what
Yeah,
a trope.
That scene was gross. But I love she like works. This is Andy's mom. She works at some department store at the jewelry counter. And she like sneaks away for like, I don't know, 5 minutes to go buy this thing.
Yeah.
And then there's like this really annoying boss there who's like, "Where have you been? You're not at your counter." And he's all giving her all this shit about like, "Oh, sorry, you can't go home to see your kid because someone called in sick today."
And it's his birthday.
Yeah. And he's like, "Doesn't matter. Do you want this job or not?" But her friend agrees to go watch her kid for her.
Right.
Right?
Steak.
You're like,
And also,
mistake.
like, the friend first offers to take her shift, but the guy's like, "You sell shoes, not jewelry."
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pretty sure the prices are written on everything. I think she could figure it out.
Yeah, it was so stupid. That guy was being a dick for no reason.
He was the worst, and he got zero comeuppance.
Yeah, what the hell?
Typically in
They, like,
movies like
never
this,
should
Should have
that
got
guy-
killed by Chucky.
Yeah, like honestly, I feel like 90% of the time in movies like this, where somebody's being an asshole like that, so that they can be killed later.
Yeah.
and this guy's just an asshole.
He probably, he didn't go far enough to be like, Chucky's not alive. Those people all got
yeah,
killed.
yeah.
Well, not all of them, but. So, yeah, we had previously met her son, Andy, who was like obsessed with this Good Guys TV show. to the point where
And the
it's,
TV show's scary as fuck.
yeah, I was like, okay, can we talk about this TV show? Like,
Yeah,
what
I'd love
is
to.
it even about? Is it some sort of like Captain Planet type show where the good guys come and
I
save the
think
day?
They seem to just be handymen.
Okay, yes. But one of the toys' accessories is like a submachine gun that shoots water. I mean, for the toy, but also, like, why does it have a submachine gun?
It's, oh, we got to waterproof this deck.
So, yeah, it's got tools, but then a gun? Like, okay, what's
Also,
going on?
now I'm thinking, like, do you think that Andy in Toy Story is like, is it a coincidence that this kid's also named Andy?
I think it's not a coincidence.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Because there's also other things that happen in this movie
Yeah.
that are like
Toy Story.
end up in Toy Story.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I bet they'd never admit it, but
Yeah. Someone's probably like, oh,
Yeah,
it was
totally John
son.
Lasseter's idea.
yeah. Blame it all on him.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that he's like, the show is on and he's like, I've seen this one, and then goes off to the other room. Like, fuck this. He's a super fan though. But yeah, it seems to be some show about like these dudes who are good guys and they come and go like, I want to be your friend.
Yeah, it looks like the Super Mario Brothers TV show, but worse.
Hey, that show was amazing. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Super
That show.
Mario.
That show is really bad. But so all he clearly, I mean, he's dressed like
Yeah, he dresses like
he's wearing like the
yeah.
good guy's costume. He's ready for it, and he has there's like a box that looks exactly the same size box as the good guy toy, but which is hilarious because like it's finally time to open the presents, and he's like, "Can I start with this one?" And his mom's like, "Don't you want to start with the smaller one first?" He's like, "No." And he opens it, and so there's like this huge fucking box, and all it has in it is like a pair of jeans.
One pair of pants.
Yeah.
It's like so messed up.
Why would you put it in that huge box? Just to fuck with your kid, I guess.
My mom's cousin and I got in a like back and forth for like 5 years, 5 Christmases of like who could do the most obnoxious like box in a box in a box in a box of wrapping, and the gift was like a bracelet, you know, like but the box would be like a gigantic moving box.
My brother still does that, and we're all so over it.
Yeah.
It's just like, just whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we finally had to call a truce because it just got like,
It got like
miserable.
we're killing the planet with our cardboard waste.
Yeah. So, oh, well. Anyways, yeah, bad job, Catherine Hicks, in wrapping the gift.
Yeah, and they're not even good guy style jeans, so
No,
he's
they're
upset.
just like regular fucking.
But then
jeans.
she does get him like the toolbox.
The toolbox,
Yeah,
yeah.
she gets him the toolbox.
that has a hammer in it.
And he's
at
like,
least.
I don't want this. Like, even though it's still good
It's
guys.
labeled good
branded.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's trying. Okay.
Yeah. She even apologizes. She's like, I know you wanted the doll, but I didn't know it existed with enough time to like save money for it. And he's just like,
Whatever. I'm Andy. I hate you. He never says that. He's a very nice child.
He is.
He is.
So yeah, but he gets the doll, and he's like super pumped.
Yeah.
And the doll's all like, "Hi, can we be friends?" Right?
Yes, absolutely. And the doll is creepy.
Yeah, I mean it looks creepy to start with.
Yes.
It's like
It looks creepy
cute-ish,
on the
but-
show.
Yeah, because they also like the ad for the doll has like a guy in the
In the
doll's
costume, yeah.
Which is the scariest part of the movie to me.
It's really weird, and he talks to himself. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where
This is where the movie it does the most interesting choice, and it plays for about 20 minutes where you don't know if this doll is alive. And I think that watching this movie, it's impossible to go back and watch this movie now, knowing exactly what Chucky is and what the whole deal is, and have this scene work as well as I'm sure that it did at the time. But also at the same time, it's like, I know what, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna say something? And it holds it out for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome. And I guess on the screenwriter was saying that they even wanted to have it be more ambiguous if Andy was actually
Controlling it or something.
killing people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the story of this movie went through lots of different changes, some of which sounds like maybe they're putting into the most recent remake. But originally it was supposed to be like Andy's mom was like the advertising executive for this brand, and it was
interesting.
more about like how something was just wrong with his doll, and there wasn't this whole voodoo thing. It was, but they said, going through the rewrites, they're like, we need a better reason why this doll is evil and killing
Well,
people.
also the creator ended up marrying Catherine Hicks. So
Well, the designer of the doll, yeah.
designer of the doll,
Not the creator of the movie.
Oh, I meant creator of Chucky.
Yeah, Kevin Yeager.
Yeah.
They met on set and are married ever since. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
She became the mom on Seventh Heaven, so they're also probably rich.
Yeah.
But not getting any money anymore because there's no more syndication for Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was it syndicated for, like, I guess it was
Oh,
forever.
yeah. On
It was
every
like-
religious TV network and
Oh,
every
yeah.
family channel.
And, like, WGN had to play something during the day.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, though, because I was Googling her to see what she said about the whole Stephen Collins being a child molester thing. And she basically was saying, like, TMZ got her at the airport or something. And they were like, would you do a Seventh Heaven reunion? And she was like, yeah, I'd do it as long as it opens up with Stephen's coffin.
Oh, damn.
Like, it was just like, we'd have to kill off his character. But otherwise, yeah, sure, great. Yeah.
That is a choice response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it that same night when?
Yeah,
when-
so-
Aunt Maggie.
Yeah, the
Aunt
mom
Maggie.
has to go back to work.
Yep.
And Maggie comes to watch Andy and the doll. Mm-hmm. Or just Andy. She doesn't think about the doll.
Not
This is
so
where
much.
the doll starts talking to Andy.
Yeah, and they're
Like-
doing little.
Yeah, it's like it talking to his ear even though you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
And he learns his name is Chucky and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Chucky wants me to do this, and Chucky wants me to do that.
Chucky wants me to do the taxes.
He already said his name was Chucky because when he first talks, he goes, "Hi, I'm Chucky" or whatever.
yeah, that's right.
But then he tells him, "Oh, my name is Charles Lee Ray."
Yeah.
I don't know why he tells him that, but
He tells him a lot. Yeah.
Chucky wants me to take out a high interest loan.
So, Maggie like tucks Andy into bed and goes about her business, and then all of a sudden, like, you see something pass behind her, like, "Tuk, tuk, 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 tuk." And she's like, "The fuck? What was that?" And she's like, "Andy, is that you?" And it's obviously not him.
Sure.
She starts freaking out, thinks she's just like hearing things. Karen even calls her to see what's going on, and she's like, "Everything is fine." And Karen's like,
Sounds bad.
Sounds like something's wrong." He's like, "No, don't worry, I'm just."
Well, no worries here. It's 9 p.m. and nobody's buying jewelry.
That's true. It seemed like she was working till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, that was
she
crazy.
said that she could go home at 5, but had to come back at 7.
Yeah. Very weird. But anyways, she's like thinking there's something behind these pots or whatever. She pulls away the pot, nothing there. And then she hears something behind her, and all of a sudden there's a hammer in her face. And she flies out the window
Yes.
to a very gruesome death. Which I thought was pretty funny. She falls and like lands on the thing. Yeah.
So the police think it was the kid.
Of course.
And then there's a great interrogation scene of where like this is where the movie starts to go off the rails in terms of how they're dealing with this kid, where they're just like, "You wanted to push her, didn't you?" And
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. Look at there's footprints on the top of this counter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and of course Chucky and the kid have the same footprints because the kid's wearing good guy's PJs with footy pajama
Yeah, and this
imprint.
is the first time Andy's like, you know what? I think I'm going to tell him it was the doll and see how that goes over.
Yeah.
It was Chucky! And the adults are all like, yeah, right, you fucking kid.
You fucking murderer.
Yeah. Sure it was.
I'm not gonna stand by any windows next to you.
Yeah. I love the mom coming home to this and she's just like, what happened?
like best friend is dead.
They don't even tell her until she's like all the way up in the apartment and like
Yeah.
going like, there's a broken window. Like, what the fuck happened?
She's like, well, your son's at the station. Like, what?
yeah. Oh my.
Oh yeah, so then the next day she drops him off at school, and I was like, she's gonna take that damn doll to school. But then there was another kid also bringing the same doll, and I was
I
like,
thought the
all
same
right then,
And then I was thinking back, like, did people used to bring stuffed animals and
not
stuff to
that
school?
big.
No, not that big, but I definitely brought stuffed animals.
I
to school.
brought
don't think I
my
did.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle submarine to school.
I had like a little Buster Bunny doll that I brought to school.
Ooh.
No, I didn't bring.
This was elementary school. I mean, he was probably also in elementary school.
Yeah.
So. In high school, I brought different dolls.
This doll is like
It was Darkwing Duck at that point.
Yeah.
'cause,
it's
like,
shorter than him, but not by much, and
Yeah.
the head is bigger than his head.
Yeah.
It's proportionally disturbing to watch him carry it.
Yeah. But he took it to school. And then he sneaks out of school.
Like immediately. His
Yeah.
mom goes around the corner and he's like, never mind.
Bye.
I'm going to go take the Chicago Transit.
I'm going to go take the Chicago Transit, which I'm like, this is bullshit because he's just riding the fucking...
Someone would be like,
No, that's
"Kid,
I was
what
like,
are you
there
doing?"
is an overly motherling Midwest woman lurking on every
Yes.
stop of that
Yes.
train. Would be like, oh, are you lost, boy? Who would take him, make him a pie, and then take him home?
Yeah, I mean, there's also
Every stop of that
there's
train.
also like cops like all over
Everywhere.
the place.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone would
And
have
then
been like,
that overly mothering Midwest woman would shove the cop out of the way.
I've got this. I've always wanted to be a mother. Where are you going, boy?
She's like, we'll buy you a Bears jersey and we'll get you home.
Chucky wants me to blow up a house.
Yeah, basically they go and seek revenge on Charles Lee Ray's partner that fucked up.
His name was Eddie Caputo.
Yeah, did he fuck
Typical
up?
gangster
What did
name.
he do?
I'm not sure. I
He
think
drove
he
a-
either gave him off.
This is the
gave
guy who
him up.
drove away without him, right?
I
I assume.
Yeah,
Because in the
guess so.
beginning, the van, his getaway van, like drives off without him, and he's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, all right. So they blow up the house.
And yeah, well, and he's sleeping in a house that's for ostensibly for humans, but mostly for rats.
There's there's a long shot of just all these mice and rats. It's really
gross.
Really gross.
Those innocent
I was bit
rats.
by a rat in your trash. It's not that gross.
The innocent rats are Chucky's real victims.
Yeah, I love this. Like Eddie's like hears something in the house because like Chucky has turned on the gas in his oven, and he hears something at the house, and he's like looking around, and all of a sudden he sees this kid outside going like Chucky.
Yeah.
And so the guy's probably like, "What the fuck is going on?" But they play this tension of like, "Oh shit, the kid's gonna go inside right when it blows up."
He does not.
He doesn't.
But the house does explode in spectacular fashion.
But at this point, to the movie's credit, we have not seen the doll talk. It's all been from his perspective. We haven't really seen the doll.
We get like a POV shot of
Yeah.
it running up the stairs,
Yeah.
like it's some sort of
Yep.
Evil Dead shot or something. Yeah, we see his hand turning the valve of the
Yes.
of the
His
oven.
little tiny baby hand.
Yeah,
His
and
American Girl hand that befriended the servants.
So
How
yeah,
dare you? The American girls were all fine, upstanding American girls.
Chucky has gotten a taste for blood at this point. This is the moment where the police are like, "This kid's a murderer. We gotta put him away in a mental hospital."
I know. They like bring the doctor right away to be like, I've seen enough. Like, he has to spend a few days with us in this dungeon-like insane asylum for children, you know? Like,
That scene was so confusing because it was just like they're in this interrogation room, and then like another voice comes out of nowhere, like, "Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
This kid's nuts." Because he just keeps going like, "Chucky told me to blow up the house." The kid, okay,
I've seen enough.
I've seen enough. This
and it's
kid
kind of
is-
sad, though, because the mom is like shaking the kid, being like, they're going to take you away from me if you don't
Yeah.
tell the truth about Chucky. And so he starts hitting Chucky, being like, talk, you stupid dog. Like, he gets pissed because he's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get taken away from my mom.
Yeah.
And so he's like still trying to tell the truth. He's not just telling them what they want to hear. So that already gives him like a huge step up most horror movie kids. Because
Absolutely.
most horror movie kids would cave and say, no, I you know, like the doll can't talk.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
It wasn't me, but I swear the doll, you know, like, or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, I swear it wasn't me, but I don't know what's going on with Chucky. You know, like, but this
Right.
kid's like, no, I'm telling the truth.
It was the opposite of the curse of La Llorona, where everyone
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh, nothing happened. I tripped and fell." The kid is actually telling the truth here.
Yeah.
Um,
But he gets taken away to the mental hospital, and the mom goes home with Chucky.
which leads to my favorite scene in the entire
Yep.
movie. She's like, fucking. She sets the doll in the background, and there's these awesome shots where she's like going to go throw out the box, and you see Chucky just sitting in the background, and the mom is in the foreground and in focus, but you're not even fucking watching what's happening to her. Like, I was just staring at the doll, like, waiting for him to move, because she would, like, cross in front of him sometimes, but then you'd still be sitting there just, like, doing nothing.
When she tries to talk to it, too, she's like, could this actually be? Because her son is so insistent. She's like, talk, you stupid doll, and he doesn't talk. Then she gets the box.
Yeah, she gets the box, she's, like, throwing it out, and she's flipping it over, and out comes, what? The batteries. 2 D batteries.
2 good guys branded D batteries.
D batteries. And she's like, what? The box says batteries included. And so she still is not convinced. She's like, no, this can't. I mean, the doll's not alive. That's fucking stupid. She goes over to the doll, flips it over.
And then she pulls like the clothing back, and then it's like, for whatever this shot, it's like a macro shot of like the backlash, and I'm like, flesh colored plastic's real weird.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like,
that's what it would look like.
It is. It's just weird to me. I was just like, ugh. But anyway, there's a battery latch.
Yeah, and she like she opens it, and right as she does, like the Chucky's head spins around, and he doesn't say like, "You want to be my friend?" Like, what does he say? Something like
remember.
that.
He calls her a bitch at some point.
Well, he does call her a bitch.
not yet, but like, so the head
He calls
turns
her
around.
a whore and a bitch or something.
Yeah.
Right?
The head turns around. We were talking about Toy Story,
Yeah.
just like in Toy Story, where he's like, "Play nice," but I think he turns around and he's like, he says, "You want to play?" in like the regular doll voice or whatever. And then she immediately goes and drops him, and he rolls under the bed. And I thought that was so great. And she's still like freaked out about what's going on. And she grabs him out and decides like, fuck this. I'm going to fucking
burn him.
I'm going to put him on fire.
Yeah.
And she lights the...
Well, she's threatening him, right?
Yeah.
She's like, talk.
She's like, if you don't talk, I'm going to throw you in this fire.
Yeah.
And she goes to do that. And right as she does, he's like...
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
Oh, sorry, it was slut, not whore.
And
My
like-
bad.
I thought that was so
I
funny.
think it's the first time we see his face fully animate,
Yeah.
and it's like the movie is building to this moment, and it pays off in an amazing way.
And we had never heard his real voice.
Right.
It's always been like this doll voice, like, "Hi, I'm Chucky." Yeah, or that, and it was just so like shocking. I'm sure people in the audience jump back in their seats.
Yeah.
like-
Still, it's when he's giving his real voice, it is still Brad Dourif
Yeah.
who played the serial killer.
Worm
So,
tongue.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, I was watching the special features, and originally they were planning. The whole plan was to have someone else do the voice of Chucky, and they said that it was so awful, like it just didn't work at all. And the creator on the thing was like, "Yeah, so basically, there's this whole cut of the movie where Chucky sounds gay." And I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh my god!
that would
Tell
be
me how you
ridiculous."
sound, gay
Yeah.
director. Okay,
I don't know, but apparently it just
Tom
wasn't working.
Holland, not that
not
Tom
that
Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
But that would be pretty jarring to hear a different voice, I think, for the whole movie. But Brad Dourif does a great job, and I think he's hilarious as Chucky. So yeah, now everyone's in on it. Not everyone, but the mom is now like,
That's
"Oh,
right.
Fuck, okay, this is real."
And then she tries to tell Prince Humperdinck.
Oh,
Forgot about that.
The cop is played by what's his face?
Chris Sarandon.
Sarandon, who plays Prince Humperdinck in Princess Bride.
I've never seen all of Princess Bride.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've heard this before. But yeah, he plays Detective Mike Norris in this movie.
Indeed. And he's kind of like the good guy cop in this, but at the same time, he's at the station, he's one of the guys who's like, "Yep, kid did it. Take him away."
Well, yeah, and because he's the guy who killed Charles Lee Ray.
Oh yeah,
in the
he was
beginning.
in pursuit.
Yeah.
Killed him. Yeah.
So you're like expecting him to like maybe believe this or something. but-
Yeah.
Did you
They
guys-
go on a whole goose chase. They go back to the dude that sold her the doll, and then she almost gets raped, but he saves her. And then they go to back to her apartment or something like that. I forget where they went. Next.
No, they go to Charles Lee Ray's apartment. She goes to they go back to her apartment, and she's like, "No, I'm going to his apartment. There's no loose ends." And he's like, "I'm
Yeah, but
going
he
to
won't,
bed."
He won't go. Yeah.
And then so she goes, and then he goes back to the station because
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like
he
done
gets
with
the
her,
file.
and then he gets the file, and then they both meet at the his apartment basically.
But when's the scene where Chucky attacks him in the car?
After all of that,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think,
Yeah, because Chucky escapes. We forgot that like that scene where he attacks her. he runs out of the building and takes the elevator down and escapes before she can find him.
Right. So then
turns out
she goes to his old apartment, and then when he leaves the station after he pulled the file, Chucky's in the car.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his Charles's apartment has like a big old painting of like the voodoo guy that he is with, who's a real guy, not just like a yeah. And he has all these like satanic looking paintings or whatever. And I was like, well, at least they're like setting up a real like origin for this. It's not just like mystical powers.
He doesn't really seem like a true believer.
No, and the Dr. Death even complains and says, you use your voodoo powers for evil instead of good. You're an abomination.
I actually appreciated that scene so much that when they actually talk to the voodoo guy, because the voodoo guy is not like just like a normal dude who like practices voodoo, which is a completely legitimate thing that people do and believe in, which is fine. And they didn't.
Tyler, you just say that in case anybody who practices voodoo is listening, and you
never know. People who practice voodoo like podcasts too.
But people in Dominican, it's a religion. Fine, no more crazy than another religion to me.
Yeah.
So I like that it wasn't like, ooh, creepy magic, and he was like, no, like you use it for evil. It's something that I do. Like what? Like, and you just co-opted it, you bastard.
Yeah. That was
cool. And he wasn't necessarily evil. Like he wanted to help, and it wasn't just like, ooh, voodoo, dark magic. Like it was nice. I liked it. Yeah. Voodoo gets a bad rap.
But Chucky kills him too.
Chucky kills him too.
He shows up at his apartment
after.
Hi, it's me, Chucky.
I love that shot of him like waving his arm.
Yeah.
They had so many different puppets and stuff for this.
They did. It looks
movie.
Great.
And that was one that was like all wires that they had gotten to move like that. And he's like, hi. It's so funny. Oh, man.
I love how this is the exposition cave of the movie where Chucky goes in and is like, tell me what happened and what needs to happen so that the audience knows. And
basically, he said he started feeling pain even though he was a doll.
And it's like, so he's becoming the doll and he needs to possess the soul or body of the person he first revealed himself to,
which is very convenient.
Which is a funny moment because Chucky's like, it's a fucking 6-year-old. I want to be 6 years old again, and he's like excited about it, which like makes him sound even crazier.
Yeah.
Well, then later he says, I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Disturbing seventh heaven connections.
Yikes. Yeah, I love too this whole scene. He's using like this like a voodoo doll to like break this guy's legs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's gotten his cool little knife that he uses throughout.
Well, and then he attacks the police officer in the car, and the police officer uses like, I liked it because he used like the cigarette lighter to burn his face or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, remember cigarette lighters in cars?
Yeah.
Nobody needs those anymore.
Yeah.
And it made the puppet different for the rest of the movie. Like it really did fuck up his face. It was great.
Yeah, I thought for sure that Detective Mike was going to end up in a fiery death of a crash because he was just like barreling through the streets of Chicago.
I wouldn't have cared if he died too.
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the failings.
This
is that you don't care about him.
This is, I think, where the movie starts veering into the absurd side of things because he's basically doing like a Bugs Bunny knife dodge through the entire thing, where it's like, oop, it's almost going to touch my butt, like it's going to touch my back, and he's still driving the car, and like it goes on for 5 minutes.
Well, they do this later too when Chucky's trying to stab the mom through a door. She keeps moving and it keeps narrowly missing her face.
And she's just leaning up against the door for no fucking reason.
Why don't you put your face away from the door instead of just moving it around the door?
Yeah, he's gonna stab you eventually,
and you would have more leverage too. Like, there's no reason to be the way that you're in.
No.
Anyway,
yeah. Okay, so everyone knows that Doll's alive except for one other dude.
Except for one dopey cop who's like, hey, if I keep doing this voice long enough, I'll make it into a Scorsese movie.
This kid think the stupid doll's alive. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. Basically.
That's true, this dude. He basically shows up in every scene to be like, hey, what you all fucking talking about? Kid killed the die. Everybody's dead. Let's throw the kid away. Let's go get a hoagie.
Would they be getting a Chicago-style hot dog, please? Come on.
You have hoagies in Chicago.
No. Nobody eats hoagies.
A grinder, then.
Get a grinder. A submarine sandwich.
A submarine sandwich.
What?
That's what they're called. Yeah. That's why it's called Subway.
What?
What? Did you not know this?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Welcome to our podcast where we talk about the finer art of sandwich
I know
art.
what a Chicago style hot dog is. What is a? Okay, never mind.
We're
Who
talking
cares?
about sandwich. Sandwich rights. You don't know what a submarine sandwich is?
I know what a submarine sandwich is. Why is it a grinder? I've never heard that.
Oh, a grinder is like a heated, like a grilled sandwich.
Yeah, it's like a hot beef sandwich.
You would take the sub and put it like through a grinder. No, put it through like a grill that heats it up. Yeah.
We should delete this whole thing and put it in the next bloopers. That time Elis didn't know sandwich slang from other regions.
You never heard of sandwiches before?
Well, it's when you take 2 pieces of bread.
Oh, thanks.
Okay,
my God.
we get to the house confrontation.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go.
Well, what were you going to say?
I was going to talk about the child psychiatric ward. Oh,
yeah.
Because
Go
the
for
kid
it.
is still in there, and then Chucky comes to get him, and of course he's like, Chucky's coming to get me, and the doctor's like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to stab you with this sedative.
Yeah.
So of course Chucky kills the doctor.
And then the kid runs away, and then they're like, oh, where could he have gone? Well, this girl we've never seen before. Let's talk to this broken
Yeah, there's
child.
all these kids like
Just-
huddled in fetal position against the wall in this like straight up dungeon, and you're like, I'm sorry, is this American Horror Story Asylum? Like, what kind of children's facility is this? Like,
A bad one.
ay, ay, ay.
And they're just like, hey, broken little girl, did you see where Auntie went?
Killer doll, killer doll, killer doll. Yeah, so we get back to the apartment for one final confrontation with Chucky. And basically she gets to, the mom gets to finish the job, what she started earlier in the movie, throwing him in the fireplace.
Right.
And there's this amazing, like how in lots of movies, like whatever the evil thing is, like just like this happened in Pet Sematary as well. Like right before it's about to get killed, it turns super cute. Like, hey, but you want to kill me?
Yeah.
And Chucky's all like, but Auntie, I thought we were friends till the end, right? And Auntie's like, this is the end. Friend.
And then he lights a match, even though he's like 6 years old. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't even light a match now.
Yeah, and he lit it on like a hard rock
On the
surface.
stone, yeah.
Like, that's pretty badass.
Before that happens, though, like she's like trying to hold him back, and then she's like, "Andy, help me!" And like he does act like a little kid for a good 30 seconds. Where
Yeah.
that was really realistic of him being like, "I don't know what to do right now."
We should say, too, that he might be a little discombobulated because right before this, Chucky was doing his voodoo magic on him.
Oh, right. And then the Ghostbuster special effects made a return.
And so you're kind of thinking like, oh, maybe he got a little bit fucked up.
Fire up the Ghostbusters machine.
Yeah, Chucky hits him. Chucky says like, batter's up, and hits him in the back of the head.
Yeah, this movie has a child getting hit in the head with a bat.
Knocks him out.
That's fucked up.
Not unlike last night's Game of Thrones.
We can. Do you want to do the child star check-in now?
Yeah,
since
let's
we're
go
talking
for
about
it.
him?
Do it.
Andy is Alex Vincent. I actually thought, like, especially the scene where he was crying in his cell.
Oh, he's good.
He
That
was
was
really
great,
good.
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this kid is like doing a really good job of crying, and I did like his big line at the end. That was awesome. But anyways, Alex Vincent continued to act. He studied sound engineering and audio post-production. He's a writer, a poet, and he owns his own production and recording studio in Florida. And he's still, involved in Chuckyverse and conventions and all sorts of things.
I thought for a second you were also going to say he had a recording studio in Glendale.
Yeah, who was that?
That was the kid from Santa Claus.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so then I have a few others. I couldn't find all the kids from the psychiatric ward, but I did find some. So Suandra Black, she owns or maybe owned a dance company here in Pasadena, but she also is an Aflac insurance agent.
Nice.
Yes. And then Jana Twomey is a teacher in the Bonita Unified School District over in Laverne. And I can tell you that she made exactly $108,052.69 in 2018.
What?
Because that is public information for some reason.
What?
I guess
Why?
teachers' salaries, like for certain districts, are all publicly published.
On their website? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
At least
And
in
now
this
it's out
district.
there.
Yeah, 108, like the lost numbers. And then Erin Munns was one of the girls in the mental hospital. She is a content strategist for USA Today's ad site, and she lives in Memphis. And then the last one is Eden Gross, and he is the little kid that provided the actual Chucky voice, the one that's, hi, I'm Chucky. So he did that, and he was a voice in a whole bunch of things. He did Christopher Robin a couple times. He did Flounder in the Little Mermaid TV show. But eventually he retired from acting, and now he changed his name to Eden Shalom, and he is a real estate advisor in Washington State for the Blessing Group.
Interesting. Well, I didn't even know there were that many kids in the movie.
Yes, they were the Bellevue patients. They're like, they have their own little section in the credits.
Ooh.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't even
also I
notice that.
guess the walk around. Chucky is the kid from is Isaac from Children of the Corn. Like he did the walk around parts.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ed Gale. That's who was that's who was in the suit.
That's
I
the
believe.
stunt double one, but it says walk around Chucky was.
Oh,
Maybe that means the commercial.
yeah, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Well,
he's in
because
it.
Ed Gale was the one who, anytime Chucky was like looked like a guy in a suit, it
Yeah.
was like little person Ed Gale.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe it's the commercial, the one that's dressed up,
around,
because that would be a
Chucky.
walk. That's a walk around, yeah,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
that would make
Okay,
sense.
so that's the Isaac from Children of the Corn.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say we can't talk about Chucky without talking about Ed Gale, because there's several scenes where they have these awesome puppets, but it would just be impractical and impossible for them to do some of these scenes. So anytime they needed him to do running or some more action beat, it was Ed Gale in a costume. And the cool thing too about those scenes is that anytime they're going to use him, they built a set that was 30% larger than the
Oh, that's
actual
awesome.
sets.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So that it made him look like to scale and everything.
That's what Ant-Man and the Wasp did.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And so,
Practical.
and he's in a lot of the movie. Yeah, which I thought was cool.
That's fantastic. Well, so there's this final confrontation in the apartment goes for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think he's burned, but then the burned one comes back, and then she starts shooting him, and then the pieces of him start trying to kill everybody.
That was
there was
so
a
great.
good part where the Chucky's severed head was going, kill them all, and I was like, Rico, is that you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then our grinder guy shows up and he's like, "Hey, let's get a sandwich."
Oh, what you got? Oh, everybody thinks the dog's alive now. What the fuck is going on in here?
It's like, "Oh, come on, Humperdinck! Like, what are you talking about? This
Let me
thing's
just
dead."
back up against the wall here, and maybe this vent will pop open. I don't know.
It was pretty cool. I wanted that guy to die real bad.
He was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mom and the detective are clearly injured and in distress, and he's like, Chucky nearly killed all of us. Yeah, and the guy's still like, yeah, but how many hoagies you have today?
Well, and then he's
And he's like, "Go out there and look. There's pieces of them all over the place." He's like, "But don't touch them.
Don't you dare fucking touch
And he's
even
like,
one of
"Up,
them."
up, up, boop, boop, boop."
Yeah.
But this cop doesn't give a shit. If there's two people horribly injured, there's been gunshots and fire, you would come in cautiously. You would probably have your weapon out, and if you didn't think it was the doll and you thought it was the kid, you'd be apprehending the kid. But this guy doesn't do any of that. He's just like,
Yeah, and you think
walking around.
You think they set fire and dismembered a doll just for fun?
Yeah.
So then,
up this
so
fake
then
crime
he gets attacked, and then they end up killing Chucky, which is fine and cool.
Because you
But
gotta shoot him in the heart.
But then the cops start coming, and then they're all kind of talking about something like, "You need to work on your goddamn cover story because this kid's being taken away. The forensic evidence is being tracked."
Yeah. And
Like
then
you need to figure out what the fuck you're telling these other cops because they're not going to believe any of the shit that you're going to tell them.
yeah, and then the mom's like, let's go, Andy, and then the movie ends.
Yep. But then Andy, it ends on a frozen look back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to show that the doll had moved again or something, or the kid's eyes would light, but they don't show anything.
Was his ritual semi-successful?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's why he was being a little weird at the end.
Maybe.
But yeah, I
find
mean,
out.
the movie ends with Chucky supposedly dead, or at least in 6 different pieces.
Sure.
And he seemed pretty dead to me. So, I mean, what? I don't know.
I mean, I
what's
wasn't
gonna
really
happen.
expecting that because we know there's more movies.
Right,
so
right.
I assume that somehow the soul has transferred to something or someone.
Yeah, I mean, because the doll is like completely fucked up. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
It's like burnt, and the effect of it, like walking when it was burnt, it was so fucking creepy.
It was really creepy, yeah.
And like, because his face
it had,
was
like,
like on
teeth,
fire,
too,
and it
yeah.
looked like it was melting. Yeah, it was so awesome. They did a really great job with the effects on this movie. I was suitably impressed.
I think it's about that time where we discuss how many good guy D batteries we'd give Child's Play.
How many double D
How many double D?
GG batteries?
GGDD batteries.
They're not double D batteries. They're just D batteries, you sick pervs. It's 2D batteries. They're not double Ds.
Well, I said how many double D. Hey, I'm sorry. I would give it shame. I think I'm gonna have to give it 8 D batteries. 8 pairs.
So
of
4 double D batteries.
8 pairs of D batteries, which just happens to be 2 Ds, and it's a double D. Because I thought this movie was pretty great. Like I said in the beginning, I loved that it was like mostly played straight and wasn't like going for laughs right away. I mean, obviously this is supposed to be, you know, like a satire on consumerism and stuff like that. But I don't. It wasn't in the. It like didn't go all the way into camp for me, which I appreciated. And I'm assuming that the later
It definitely will. There's
will
no
go to
way.
camp.
it can't.
Not Sleepaway Camp or Camp Crystal Lake.
Yes, there were no camps except for mental health camp. But yeah, I thought this was really great. Chucky, I can see why this movie made like $44 million on a like apparently $9 million budget. I can see why it's endured to this day. Like I feel like it's instantly an iconic character. Brad Dourif's performance is so great. His voice and like it's just like coarse and just kind of like matter of fact.
It's not camp in that like he's just a legit crazy person, and he's playing that straight, but like it's so over the top that it kind of you laugh because it's crazy and because it kind of makes him uncomfortable.
And he's not really relishing being in the doll,
right?
Which I think if maybe that happens in the future, or it would be more like a like haha, I'm a dog, he's just kind of like I'm trying to.
I don't want to be here. Yeah,
I want revenge, and then I want to get another
he's
body.
Like, it's hard enough for me to kill people like this.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny. What about you guys?
I will give it. I guess also 8 D batteries, single D batteries. And say, yeah, I mean, it's clear, like you said, why this became such a classic. I was surprised that it was very practical and that he didn't have much like supernatural stuff. So it was kind of just like a straight slasher instead of being like Annabelle is or whatever. Yeah. Which I think is kind of interesting. Just have like one supernatural element and then go from there rather than have everything's, like flying around and going crazy all around us, Like I said, I did think that one of the major failings was that these cop characters are awful. And so you really don't have anybody to care about except the mom and the kid, which I guess is fine. But I think if at least one of those cops had been a little bit more compelling, it would have been a little bit more high stakes.
Yeah, like the cop is essentially supposed to be the hero, and he's just not.
He sucks.
He gets sidelined even in the end conflict.
He does.
Which I think, obviously is on purpose so that it can be about the mom and kid. Which,
sure.
So maybe they weren't really trying to build him up that much, or it was like a red herring that he was going to be the hero or something. But
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to give it 7 GGD batteries. Good guy, D batteries. I think it's wildly uneven. I think that there's a lot of stuff that I really like about this movie. I think that it kind of made me think of just being around kids, and like you think of their imagination as kind of this wonderful, beautiful thing, and knowing that there's kind of a dark side to that is really fascinating, and this movie plays on that for as long as it can. Then when the serial killer voodoo stuff happens, it's fun, but it kind of, I can see where all the elements are there, and I'd be really disappointed if this is the best kind of balance of them, because it still felt uneven to me.
Interesting.
But again, everything that you guys said, I think that it's obvious why this has legs and why it spawned so many sequels, because I think that it's something that plays on, like you said, it's a satire of consumerism. It has something about the innocence of childhood and also kind of the darkness of imagination and all of the different themes, which I think are incredibly powerful.
Yeah. And it really struck a chord with audiences, and we only have to wait 2 years to 1990 for Child's Play 2, which I assume no one has seen as well, right?
I have no idea, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, some of the later movies you can kind of tell what they're about based on the title. But this one, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I bet there'll be some of these where I know this scene or I know whatever it is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I imagine that part of the voodoo conversion worked.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. Otherwise, like I said, the doll's completely destroyed. Like, obviously it comes back or it's a different doll or whatever, but they kind of ended it where, like, if it didn't do well, they could have just been like, well, that was the end.
It's like some greedy toy executive who's like, I heard this doll lived, and then bribed the police to get the evidence locker.
Yeah.
We're going to build a whole line of dolls off of this doll's corpse.
It's got to be a new doll, though, because we know that we're going to see that doll in good form again.
Yep. Because, the other one's destroyed, so new doll it is. But what's going to happen? There's still children playing too. Child's Play too.
Twins.
Yeah. I have no idea what's going to happen. I guess I hope that some of the characters carry over, but I also could see them just.
Oh, I don't care about
different.
that at this point.
No, I mean, it would be cool if Catherine Hicks came back.
Sure. Yeah.
See someone deal with Chucky again. Have some PTSD.
Have some. I mean,
I really want to just see PTSD.
She would just carry around matches on her person. Alrighty. Well, in the meantime, Eliz, where can people get in touch with us?
Yes, please email us, sequelrights@gmail.com. Tell us about your childhood dolls. And you can check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @sequelrights.
And please rate and review us on Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. Any review goes a really long way. We really appreciate it, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, and thanks so much to my brother for the music at the top. And, well, listeners,
It's been fun, but I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Wow, that's what the recording they're going to use in the trial, Justin,
hey, that, the comes from the podcast, so that comes from all of us.
That's right.
Me, because I just clearly a man's voice.
I love how he's like, 6-year-old boy.
Hey.
Like the line delivery is amazing. I just had to play that. Thanks for being here this week, you guys. See you next week for Child's Play 2.